button. Okay, now I'm ready.
Good day, Internet. This is DTNS Live for Tuesday, May 27th, 2025. From Studio Animal House, I'm Sarah Lane.
From Studio 7 in Los Angeles, I'm Tom Merritt.
And from north of the wall, that magical, mystical wall of cold, I'm producer today. I'm Amos.
It's unfreezing your lips. DTNS Live is made possible by you listening right now. Thanks, Ali Sanjabi. Thanks, AB Puppy. Thanks, Dale Mulcahy. And thanks, Mark Stedman.
Hey. And welcome all, one and all, to DTNS Live, the show where we discuss the tech news to help us all understand it a little bit better. Here in the U.S., we had a long weekend. Memorial Day was yesterday, Monday. Thanks to all who have served. Amos, you as well. What did everybody do yesterday?
Yesterday, we went to Koreatown and got food.
I like it. That sounds fun.
Wasn't particularly related to Memorial Day. It was because I didn't have work in the middle of the day, and Seven still went to his puppy play date. So
And
we're like, we have time.
Yeah. Isn't that fun? Amos, what about you?
I worked all weekend.
You worked all weekend,
Yep.
including yesterday. Long weekend.
Yesterday. Yep.
Long weekend of work. Well, thank you for your service.
Working this weekend. Specifically.
All right, we do have tech news to talk about, so let's start with the quick hits.
Our 15-year nightmare is over. WhatsApp launched a native iPad app. You get group video and audio, can call up to 32 people, screen sharing, front and rear camera. It integrates with iPad OS tools like Stage Manager, Split View, and Slide Over. That way you can multitask alongside other apps. Meta hinted at the release with a teaser on X, with some wondering if an iPad-optimized Instagram app might be next.
Oh my goodness. Now, I don't use WhatsApp often enough for this to be super relevant to me. I have a few friends on WhatsApp, but the Instagram iPad app would be.
Yep.
That is definitely, Instagram is better on mobile than it is on desktop, but I prefer desktop. So the iPad app would be like a perfect in between.
I use the WhatsApp for talking to a couple people, including the Chris Ashley and Rob Dunwood and Rod Simmons. They all use WhatsApp. Our dog walker uses WhatsApp. None of those I need an iPad for, though. So I'm not the test case for this particular thing. But I understand if you do a lot of video calls, it'd be nice to be able to take advantage of Stage Manager and all that stuff. I get it.
Well, and also, back in the the early iPad days, the whole thing was like, is it going to be a real iPad app or just an iOS app that you can
double size?
Double size.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well, WhatsApp is getting on the train. Salesforce is buying Informatica for $8 billion to strengthen its AI capabilities by merging Informatica's data management tools with Salesforce's Agentforce platform. The goal is to improve the reliability and data understanding of AI agents in general. Informatica shareholders will get $25 per share.
Realme launched the GT7 and GT7T smartphones globally. They have 7,000 milliamp hour batteries, nice big full battery. Supposedly you can fully charge it up in 40 minutes, nice quick charging. GT7 starts at 750 euros, includes a 6.7-inch AMOLED display, and a premium Dream Edition co-designed with Aston Martin is also available. The more affordable GT7T starts at 650 euros, so 100 euros less, has a slightly brighter screen than the previous model. Both phones offer Android 15, long-term software support, and are available for pre-order in Europe and India.
It kind of reminds me of like the Hermes Apple Watch strap.
Oh, the Aston Martin thing? Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like, okay. Cool car. I can't afford
edition.
it.
Yeah. But I can afford this phone.
Yeah.
I guess that's the idea, right?
The idea is like you have like the slightly more special version.
Because is anybody who really drives an Aston Martin going to get a Realme for 750 euros plus? Like,
There's someone out there, Tom.
I'm sure there is. There's at least
I need
one.
I need a phone that matches
Someone's out
my
there and they're
car.
listening to us right now and they're like, me. And I like
Yes,
it.
please.
And
Feedback
here's
at
why.
dailytechnewsshow.com. Let us know.
Indeed.
Yeah. Tell us all about your Aston Martin and your matching phone.
The browser company says it's putting its Arc browser on the back burner to focus on its new AI-powered browser, Dia. Arc could be sold, maybe open sourced. Hard to say right now. The team is still handling bug fixes and security updates for Arc, but is not going to be offering new features. Open sourcing is also a bit of a challenge since Arc runs on the Arc Development Kit, ADK, which is also the engine behind Dia, which is the new browser, which is still in early alpha testing with no launch date yet.
Yeah, I said this on briefing, but it is odd that they made this announcement that they're not going to put new features, but they're still in alpha on Dia. So it's not like most people can even try the other browser.
Yeah. It is kind of a big story because it turns out a lot of people really like the Arc browser and are sort of like, what's happening? So
Not enough liked it, I guess.
yeah.
Apple says it stopped more than $9 billion in fraudulent App Store transactions over the past 5 years, including $2 billion in 2024 alone. Also in 2024, Apple says it blocked about 2 million apps that posed potential risks before they could launch. WWDC coming June 9th and is expected to show off the value of the App Store and the challenge developers might face if they wanted to manage mobile payments on their own, like they can now do in Europe and the US.
Yeah.
And a few
who
other
wants
places.
to do that?
Oh, you won't want to do that.
Oh, no. You want Apple to do it for you for a fee,
Let me show you
says
why.
Apple.
Fraud.
Meta announced it's restructuring its AI division, forming AI products and AGI foundations teams to speed up innovation. This also deals with talent losses, delays in Llama 4 development, and legal scrutiny over Meta's AI training practices. Some people, including myself as of this morning, are using ChatGPT as a blunt, no-nonsense beauty advisor. You can upload a photo to ChatGPT for a variety of reasons and, ask like, what is this flower? Or, whatever. But let's say you take a very, very horrible photo of yourself, which I did this morning. Hair in a bun, no makeup, I'm in pajamas, I look horrible. And say, what do you think? Am I attractive? Apparently, this got some traction over the weekend. Let's call it a holiday weekend kind of story.
Little holiday viral thing.
A little holiday viral, yes. And obvious red flags right, out the gate. ChatGPT's advice is going to be shaped by online data that already exists. It's not your friend. It's not, trying to say something nice to you or say something mean to you. This is all based on data that already exists and, what the data is trained on. This also, I found it to be sort of a fun experiment this morning, but also this is akin to somebody saying, hey, do I have cancer? That kind of thing. It's like experts say you can't use this as that kind of thing. You can use it for fun. You can use it to enhance certain rituals that you do throughout the day. But, just be aware that this is not really going to give you the advice that you necessarily need or want. Okay, so I did it anyway. And I gave it the worst photo of me ever taken. And it said, and I said, rate my attractiveness.
Okay.
Because that's what the New York Post had said that people were doing, just to get really no
Hot
nonsense
or not,
answers.
ChatGPT.
Exactly.
Talk to me.
Exactly. And it was like, I can't do things like that. Attractiveness is subjective and
So the safeguards kicked in.
Safeguards kicked in, and I was like, but I want you to objectively rate me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, can't do that. That's really, it's not a good idea. But if you had a specific reason that you wanted me to rate
Here's
this
how to get
photo,
around my safeguards.
yeah, then
Okay.
then that would be, we could go forward. So I said, this is for a wedding. It wasn't. I'm not getting married. I'm not
Sure,
going to a
but
wedding.
Why not?
But that's what I said. And then I got like, it was like, your eyebrows look good. You look tired. Hair, you really want to rethink that.
Okay.
I mean, it was honestly, I was laughing. I was like, oh my gosh, this is hysterical. Because I just had to ask it in a certain way. You know, I had to just be like, no, this is for like a specific event. I really need your help. And it was like, all right, well, you look crappy, girl. And
But do you think it would have been useful advice? I mean, I know you were trying to take a picture that wasn't showing you in the best light.
I was trying to trip the system up.
But
I do think it would have been, if I would have honestly been like, hey, I'm going to a wedding.
Yeah, right.
I want to look my best. What do you think? It didn't give me, I wouldn't say it was bad advice.
Yeah.
But it was like, it was brutal. Kind of brutal.
Well, it was honest, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it was right. I'm saying it didn't try to.
It was as honest as it could be.
It didn't try to sugarcoat it. It was like, I think this is good, this is bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should I do it
I think
now?
the scary part there is if you get really all fancied up and you're ready to go out and then you ask it and it says, oh, here's a bunch of improvements you can make.
That was my first reaction is like, wow, what if because I was just
What if
having
they were
fun.
useful though? What if you're like, oh, I could do that, and
But then it's like, but
Your ego is nowhere
who's
near
the
as
beholder,
fragile as mine,
you
Tom.
know?
Well, sure. This is where yes, it is biased, but it's biased towards the internet's like opinion on attractiveness.
Right.
So if
Yeah.
you're trying to impress the internet, this would be a great tool. I don't know if it's going to work for the people at your wedding or not, right? Like that's a whole different thing.
Totally. Well, and how long before? I mean, if we think about the I don't know, Instagram model, it's like there's a certain something that you kind of have in your head of like, yeah, okay, I get what that looks like, because it's all sort of the same. It's the same idea. It's pretty person on the internet, and who knows what's real and what isn't type thing. But this, if it's going to tell you like, here's how to be more like that person, maybe that's what you want. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's not possible.
Yeah, it's not going to give you an objective a judgment of your attractiveness because there isn't such a thing. Like beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? But it is going to tell you based on all of the training data of the internet what it thinks you should improve on. I actually tried it just now.
Did you?
I put, I'm attending a wedding. What can I do to improve my appearance?
And
So thank you for the tip. Let's see. I'm gonna share there's the screen, Joe, if you want to put it up. It says, you've got a strong base look here with a good haircut, sharp glasses, and a solid sense of personal style. So it's already wrong. For attending a wedding, here are a few ways to elevate your appearance. Beard, give it a light trim, sharpen the edges, clean up stray eyebrow hairs. Consider a gentle exfoliation routine. Earbuds, skip them because I'm wearing the earbuds for the show. Unless
at least it's paying
tech-themed
attention,
wedding.
right?
Yeah. Might read as distracted in formal photos if you wear the earbuds. Swap the
imagine?
polo for a well-fitted dress shirt, blazer, consider a pocket square, make sure it fits well. Style your hair with a bit of product. How is that going to, I have no hair to put product in.
yeah, like even if you did like use like gel or something, like
Oh,
how
it
would your
says
hair even look different?
Glasses, yours work well. Clean the lenses and frames before you go, though. So apparently my glasses are not clean enough.
This is really not bad. This one's
not horrible.
Yeah.
Although I also took this picture. I tried to make a funny face, but I'm in the lighting for the show and everything, right? So it's
Yeah.
not going to be me at my worst.
Well, you're also just very attractive, Tom. So.
Oh, please stop.
But yeah, no,
No,
it's,
really,
it's,
tell me more.
go on. No, I found this to be, it was amusing to me, and also I was like, all right, but it could also be harmful to people who are, I don't know, there's self-esteem
this
issues.
could be misused, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not going to tell you what you want to hear. It's going to tell you what it thinks, and that you might not be ready for that, and it may be wrong too, right? And it could feed into your own insecurities by telling you something you think is true that isn't true.
This reminds me of this is sort of a trope at this point where people are like, oh, I asked ChatGPT this thing and it gave me like such a funny result. And one woman or person, I don't even know if it was a woman on X had sent had tweeted, I asked ChatGPT to bluntly tell me not to eat a midnight snack.
Okay.
And it compared me to a raccoon eating trash at 2 a.m. and I lost my appetite. It worked. So I was like, that's funny. I don't know if that really happened. Let me try. So I gave the same prompt that they said that they gave. I didn't get the raccoon one, but it was ChatGPT was like, you're not hungry. You're bored. Go to bed.
Accurate.
And I was like,
wow,
that's pretty good.
It really is getting smarter.
Like, you're right. That's 100% what's happening if I'm eating at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
I am bored.
Especially if you're trying to eat at 10 p.m. and playing around with ChatGPT, right? It knows, like, you wouldn't be asking me this if you weren't bored. So,
yeah. Tom, speaking of, I don't know, not boredom necessarily, but doing stuff for fun, you visited a robot convenience store in LA this week. How did it go?
yeah, so Eileen found this on Instagram. There are 2 locations in LA of a VenHub convenience store. VenHub, oddly enough, Lamar Wilson was telling us he went to the vending machine convention in Las Vegas and they were displaying there. He saw this, but they have got 2 in operation. They are, you don't walk in. They're all locked behind glass. There's no attendants, just robot arms, but it's convenience store items. So anything from snacks to medications, over-the-counter medications, cough syrup, stuff like that. Cleaning products. They had some USB cables, like anything you want. You go up to the store, you download the app, you tell it what you want, make sure, you're at the right store and all of that. You pay in the app, and then the robot arm goes and gets your Coke Zero out of the cooler, brings it over to the bin, and sets it down. Now, the interesting part was it doesn't set it in the bin. It sets it on top of the bin. And then when you're ready, because they want you to order more things, right? So it's like, oh, are you done? When you're done, you scan the QR code on the front of the bin, and the robot arm will then lower the platform down into the bin, and you reach in and grab your stuff.
And there's no alcohol because that would you would have to show your ID.
They are working on that. They say they want to be able to sell alcohol like beers and stuff, but they have to have a vetted system of proving that you, the purchaser, are over 21. Well, no, you probably do. You could probably do driver's license or something like that. But there are ways to do it where the purchaser can prove they're 21. But no, they haven't done anything like that yet. It's also pretty thick glass, because I know immediately people are like, you could just break in and steal stuff. It's like, yeah, it's going to be harder for you to break in and steal this stuff than it would be. You can break in and steal
stuff from any store.
to go to any closed store that doesn't have anyone there. So I was shocked how easy it was. Well, I'm sorry, Amos, what'd you say?
I said, how fast was it?
It was pretty fast. Yeah. As soon as I put in my order, the robot arms started moving and went and grabbed the stuff. And that's what I mean. Like, it was almost disappointing how easy it was. Like, if I wasn't watching robot arms do it, I could have just imagined that there was some guy that went back there and grabbed it and put it in the bin. Like, it was.
And that's boring. You were hoping for something that was just like, wow, magic.
I was almost disappointed when it was done, where I was like, oh yeah, there was nothing other than the robot arms look kind of cool. There was nothing too crazy about it. The stuff they have is not unusual. It's all the kinds of things you would want from a convenience store. And then I had a little bit of confusion about how to open the bin. I didn't realize that it opened on its own, and it took a little longer, a couple seconds longer to open than I thought. So I'm like, oh, do I have to push on it? Which I didn't. But other than that, it was pretty easy to figure out and pretty convenient. I'd have to be there and want something from it, though. So I'm not sure how often that's going to happen, but it was near a park and near a bunch of other little shops and stuff. So theoretically people
Yeah, if you
might
were in
be
the
like,
neighborhood.
Yeah. If you know it's there and you know what kind of items it's got in stock, you might get used to like, oh, let me grab something from that. And then, like I said, it was pretty fast.
Well, and I'm sure it depends on where you live and the neighborhood that you're in. But my nearest Target is pretty close to me. I go there all the time. I just find excuses to go because I love Target. But half the stuff at Target is behind. It's you have to press the button and get the attendant to open the thing so you can get deodorant.
Yeah,
and it's actually a pretty crappy way to do stuff. CVS down the street from me, same thing. It's like they have beer and wine there. I don't know if all CVSs have beer and wine, but this one does. And it used to be,
most of them do.
Yeah, it used to sort of be like there was the grocery wall. Now everything is behind glass. I asked them the other day, I was like, do you have a lot of theft? And they were like, yeah.
They're like,
That's
not
why
anymore.
we did this. And I was like, oh, okay. Huh. So something like what you're describing makes so much more sense for high risk items.
Yeah, there's because it's all behind glass, but that's the point, right? And it's not expensive. How much do you think I paid? Well, I bought a little half can of Pringles and a Coke Zero. How much should that cost? And then how much do you think it cost at the special vending machine? $5. Amos, what do you think?
I'd say $5 at a normal convenience store, and I would guess that maybe $3.50.
$2.93.
What? That is
$1.59 for the Coke Zero, $1.09 for the Pringles.
Now that is a good value.
Right?
It is, because I hang out at convenience stores quite a bit. I love me a corner store. And that would always be like $5.
Yeah.
They find all sorts of reasons to, charge you $3 for a Coke Zero.
So the fact that you don't have to pay for security, you don't have to pay for clerks, it's solar powered. So it is probably drawing some power from the grid, but it doesn't have to. Like it can power a lot of its stuff on its own. Is probably why they're able to keep the price down low. But anyway, I don't know where else in the world these are going, but they are worldwide. They are offering them worldwide. If you want to become a franchisee, I guess, I don't know if it's a franchise model or you just buy it from VenHub and put it on property you own, but they're trying to get people to buy these and put them places. And usually I go to these things like the walkout stores that they have at the stadiums now. And I'm like, yeah, it works, but it's a little janky and you have to have people at the exits and it doesn't always, it takes a long time for the receipt to show up. This is the opposite. I'm like, no,
there's never enough pepperoni pizza.
Yeah, exactly. Right. They run out of stuff. This could have a stocking issue. That would be the one thing that I think VenHub would not overcome. But otherwise, this is much better.
Well,
I was just thinking, how do they stock it? Is it just a big door in the back? Does someone actually have to go inside?
Yeah, somebody has to come up
in the back.
There's got to be a human at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, through the back stocking. But that's not unlike the way that if I walk to my corner store right now and get a Coke Zero, and then somebody in the back pushes the other ones to the front so it looks nice. I mean, that's what
jump
they do
because you didn't realize someone was back there, and yeah.
And then you scream and it's a whole thing. But yeah, no, I wonder.
VenHub preferred fulfillment partners can have it restocked by VenHub even, or you can have full control of your inventory yourself. It's up to you. I just found that in their FAQ. But apparently you just open up the back and then stock it from the back.
I mean, the sort of convenience stores a lot of them are just they're doing their own thing. You never really know what kind of convenience store you're going to get. For example, the one on my block is very strange, but I like the people who work there, so I find reasons to go in there a lot. But it's a very strange convenience store. They have a whole aisle for envelopes. I mean, so many envelopes. Just what's happening? Where are your wheat thins? But the idea of the CVS, the Thrifty, the Walgreens, et cetera, that is just a staple of urban environments. You're always going to find one pretty close to you. And yet I feel like they work less and less well. You go in there and you're like, yeah, half the stuff is missing off the shelves, and half the stuff is locked up, and the employees are kind of, they're just sort of existing, and it's like, okay, we could probably do this better. What it sounds like is the way to do it better is what you're describing, Tom.
Yeah, and these never close.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, so you don't have to have someone being like, oh, 2 a.m., yay, fun. You don't need an employee for that.
Yeah. Well, folks, what do you want to hear us talk about on the show? You got other vending machine ideas or things that are totally different? One way to let us know is our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at reddit.com/r/Daily Tech News Show.
All right, Amos, I know you've been scanning the stories all day. What hit home to you?
Well, Apple is still planning to get its HomePad smart hub out the door by the end of the year. The square 7-inch tabletop device will act as both a HomeKit and a Siri controller and support Apple Intelligence features. It was originally slated for spring release, but got delayed while Apple worked out some kinks in its AI integration. That's all, according to Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, of course, because that's where we get all the best rumors from Apple. What I want to know is, according to you, how is your smart home going? Because I will tell you, mine is a mess.
Is it? It's funny that you asked this today because a few months ago, maybe it was only about a month ago, I redid my whole Wi-Fi network. My network is the same, but my hardware is different. And it just, because from where I am in my office to my bedroom basically didn't get any Wi-Fi. It was a mess. So we did some daisy chain stuff. It's actually way better. But because of that, I had to redo all of my smart home devices. Mm-hmm. My network was just like, I don't know who you are,
Yeah.
like
for unrelated reasons, you had to change out all your hardware. And I guess you could have made the SSID the same name, but it's probably a good security practice to be like, you know what, let's change the name and all of that.
Yeah, and I guess the MAC address was the same, or maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, I was sort of like, oh, okay. All of my routines, of which there are many, when it comes to my smart lights. Mm-hmm. For example, this little light behind me. It's like that's on a timer that I set up a long time ago. Where it's like when I'm getting ready for the show, the light goes on because I don't want to have to think about it every day.
That's
but
great.
I don't want it on, when I'm not sitting right here, et cetera, et cetera. So so I have I have Hue smart bulbs. Most of my bulbs are Hue smart bulbs, and they're finicky in their own way. But the LifeX bulbs are really finicky. And I still have like two of my favorite lights in the whole house just cannot be switched on by voice because LifeX still is like wanting like the it's like, oh, scan the QR code from the box. I'm like, what box? I haven't had a LifeX box in like 5 years. Like, I think I'm keeping these boxes? That's insanity. And yeah, it's doable, but it's so annoying. It really is. Anyway, thank you for listening to my TED Talk.
Yeah. Well, because I have 2 LifeX bulbs too, and they're ancient. And I certainly don't have the boxes. And the alternative, which I know is like you have to find the number that's written in the tiniest characters ever known to man.
Yeah, you have to take a photo of it and then
and then enlarge it.
And then enlarge it and be like, maybe this is what you're looking for.
And
sometimes that works.
It's 2 photos because you can't get the light to shine on both halves of the number with the same
because it's rounded. Yeah.
Yeah, it's chaos. It's chaos.
Yeah, no, it's total pain because
I've
done
this before.
The same thing. Yeah.
So I know what to do. I'm just like, do I really want to do 45 minutes of this right now? No, I'll just manually turn the light on like an old person. So anyway, that's my smart home situation.
We haven't expanded our smart home a lot because it is kind of a pain to set things up. And I know Matter is coming still, and I believe it. I actually believe it will, but it's still going to be a couple more years before that becomes easy. But I have my things and they work, and I'm fine with them. So I guess I'm becoming an old person too. But like, I have my studio lights that I can say, turn on studio. They come on. We have a string of Edison lights in the backyard on a smart plug, and it knows to, like, around 20 minutes before sunset. You know, you can actually use that as the time, right? Again, and it changes as sunset changes. 20 minutes before sunset, they come on. And then I think I have them to go off like 3 a.m. so that in the middle of the night, they just turn off.
My living room lights come on 30 minutes before sunset as well. And whenever, I mean, not that I'm having dinner parties every day, but whenever anyone's in my house, they're like, what just happened? And I'm like, oh, it's sunset, 30 minutes. And they're like, what?
Well, and it's crazy. I was like,
you just don't think about it. You're like, I just don't think about turning my lights on and off
until it breaks, right? Because one of the lights that in my living room that comes on 15 minutes before sunset is a LifeX bulb, and like less than it used to, but I'd say once every 6 months, it just doesn't come on anymore. It's like, I don't know, I'm not connected to the cloud anymore. And then I have to go figure
and it's
out
not broken. You just have to redo the whole thing.
Yeah, you just have to go in and in the app and hit some buttons.
And the thing about the smart home is it is kind of fun to tinker with. I did this for my mom recently, and she was just, when I finally figured it out after 4 hours, she was just like, "You're a wizard." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, it was not fun for me." But but it's like you figure out the smart bulbs, if we're talking about lights, have their own app. But then you're talking about, like, are you talking HomeKit? Are you talking Amazon Assistant? Are you talking Google Home? And then, that's a different app where routines have to get added. And yeah, it can be wonky. It can be. You
How about
have
you,
to,
Amos?
You have to want to tinker.
I am sitting in the world of every room in my house has an Amazon Echo device, and a lot of them are getting older. They often don't work as they're supposed to, and I don't want to replace them all, especially since everyone in my house has iPhones and iPads. So I'm ready to switch over from the Echoes having control to being in the Apple Home system. I don't know how to make that transition happen. And it's rather frustrating because the Echoes are suddenly like, for instance, my dining room has 3 hue lights in it, and we have it set up that way so that for birthdays and things like that, we can decorate and use the lights to have different colors. I don't have an Echo in that room, but I have one in the living room and in the kitchen. So telling my Echoes to turn on those lights, sometimes they'll sit there and flicker on and off because I've got 2 Echoes fighting over each other. But they're supposed to be talking to each other to decide which one has control. And so I have that problem.
I have an Echo Show in my kitchen and one in the living room. And sometimes I'll be in the kitchen, standing right next to the Echo Show in the kitchen in the morning, and I'll say, play my flash briefing, and the one in the living room starts playing. I'm like, what bouncing around of sound did it think was happening that caused that to happen?
So, and I used to think that was because I do have an Echo Show in my kitchen, but I have 2 Sonos Ones, one in my living room, one in my bedroom that work with Amazon's Assistant. So that's what I primarily use them for. And I have never figured out how to be standing literally right next to one, kind of far from the other one, where I'm like, Alexa, play my flash briefing, and like it starts playing in the bedroom. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
How
did you
even hear it?
And just to be certain, it's not just the Alexa stuff, because I also have 2 HomePods in my living room that I use as my speakers for the TV. That once in a while just want to be out of sync with each other and with the TV.
Well, Matter's supposed to fix all of this.
I don't know.
Maybe
it will. Plug them.
Maybe
it will fix it.
Maybe
it's
it
going
will
to take a
one
long
day.
time.
Yeah.
It's Bluetooth. I keep saying this. Bluetooth, everybody complained about Bluetooth, and then until suddenly it started working because it reached that critical mass, and now everybody loves Bluetooth. So I truly believe Matter will get there.
Yeah.
Probably
So
5
I wanted to bring this up because we have a lot of tech people that listen to us, of course, and you're not alone in your struggles with the smart home right now.
Definitely not. Yeah.
No.
I mean, when it works
true.
great, right?
Yeah.
And I'm definitely guilty of like not paying attention when it works and only getting mad when it doesn't work. Because when it works, you don't have to think about it.
And the
I mean,
routines I have, like you know, I'm going to bed, it does the thing. And then I wanted to turn on this light, and I can't turn that light on without saying exactly the perfect phrase, because one word off from that, it changes the fan setting instead of the light setting. Even though I said light, it still changes the fan because the names are too close, and I try to rename it, and it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And it's like little things like that are just like, come on.
It also really, I think it really matters. Like, what is your house setup? Before I lived at my current apartment, I lived in a much smaller apartment. And when I would wake up in the morning, I'd say, you know, the Amazon assistant's name, good morning. That meant lights go on, I get my briefing, everything's just happening. You know, it was like such a sort of pleasant way to wake up. Like, I'm ready, you know, like help me wake up, give me my thing as I'm making coffee. Well, in where I live now, I mean, not that it's like a huge apartment, but, you know, going from the bedroom to where I am now, it's sort of a long, narrow railroad apartment. So it doesn't work the same way. It's like I have to kind of sit in the bedroom and listen to everything before I get up, and I don't want to do that. I want to like walk throughout the house, and it's like, why can't I have my speakers synced so that as I walk throughout the house, I am still hearing my briefing? It doesn't. I don't know. I still haven't figured that out.
You can do that, but it's not
You
easy.
can,
Yeah.
but it's been wonky for me ever since
I
changed
haven't
my
figured
Wi-Fi
out how to
stuff.
get my Echoes to announce that the washer's done, but it shows up on my TVs, even the ones that I didn't know were hooked up to the system. It gives me little things that says washer's done, and it's like
Great, thanks.
But
A friend of mine, I mean, speaking of appliances, a friend of mine the other day was here, and I was doing a load of laundry, and they were like, "Oh, it's smoke alarm," and I was like, "No, it's my dryer." They were like, "What? Your dryer?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's my dryer saying that the stuff is dry." It's so funny what we get used to.
Yeah. Totally.
And when you're just like, I don't know what the beeping is. Yikes!
We're on fire.
There's a fire.
You're like, no, my towels are
It's just my
dry. That's all.
dryer. Yeah, he was like, that's like really aggressive. And I was like, yeah, well, you just don't hear it after a while. Well, speaking of aggressive, let's talk food. So we all on this show like to talk about the things that we like to eat. I think we're all pretty imaginative as far as what we try to make, where we go for food. So I thought we could talk about some missteps that may have happened over Memorial Weekend here in the US of A and abroad. I'll start. So I always have boxes of mac and cheese, like Kraft mac and cheese, in my cupboard in the kitchen. Just like if all else fails, I'm out of food, I can't go to the grocery store, like whatever. Like you can always make mac and cheese and just survive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the other night I had a couple boxes and I was like, yeah, just that, which is kind of a lot of mac and cheese, but I'm like, yeah, I'll just make both of them, and have some leftovers.
Yeah.
So.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? And so I did. And the next day I was sort of like, I don't know. I have to go grocery shopping. But like mac and cheese, I don't want to waste food, blah, blah, blah. So I opened up a can of sardines and I thought of you, Tom.
Yeah.
Because I know that you're a sardine and rice fan.
Yep, just had it for lunch today.
That's your lunch thing. And sardines are always another staple where I'm like, like in the Armageddon. If you have sardines, you can,
You'll make it another day.
You're going to make it another day or two. Lots of protein. And so I was like, you know what? Mac and cheese and sardines is not a bad idea, right? Like mac and cheese and tuna is somewhat normal.
Tuna mac. That's the thing.
Tuna mac, tuna
Tasty.
melt. I mean, tuna and cheese, not strange.
No.
Well, this was not good. It was not good, and there was nothing. It wasn't the sardines' fault, and it wasn't the mac and cheese's fault. It just should not have been combined. I ate it anyway.
I was going to say, you
again,
finished it anyway, didn't you?
I
know you
did because don't waste food, but I will not be trying this again.
See, if you had a
it was
VenHub
not good.
down the street any time of day, you got to run down, got some more mac and cheese, made a new fresh box.
Oh my gosh. Well, the mac and cheese was just left like it. I should have just eaten it. I could have eaten them both in two separate bowls, and
You can put
life
a
would have
lot
been
of things
fine.
in mac and cheese too.
Yeah.
Like broccoli
Oh, yeah.
goes well in macaroni
which I do all the
and
time.
cheese. Yeah.
like I throw some zucchini in there. It's great. You know, it's you
Like,
can
and
get
like
your
you say,
veggies
the
and still enjoy your
sardines
mac and cheese.
as a separate dish somehow, probably fine.
It
with
was
mac and cheese as a side
was
dish. Just
not
don't-
good.
Yeah.
I'm a
I
bit
will
of a
take
leftover
a
snob, though,
big
so-
fat L on that one. It was not good.
Sardines
don't
and
think-
cheese. Maybe it's the sardine and cheese combo just isn't a good one.
Maybe, even though I like weird food usually is like I can there's a lot of like weird food that I like and other people are like, oh my gosh, you're insane. But this was not good. We will not be doing that again. No more sardines and mac and cheese for me. Thank you.
I actually ate pretty good this weekend. I'm not going to lie, but we didn't make any of it ourselves. The one meal I regret from the weekend was when we were running a little late on Sunday and we wanted to go to the VenHub. And so we were like, well, we're getting dinner later tonight. Let's just hit the road, but we need to put something in our stomachs. So we ate Fritos. Actually, it wasn't even Fritos. It was the Trader Joe's corn chips that are like Fritos.
Oh, I love
They're like-
Fritos.
And
I don't
they're
know.
good.
I don't think I've had the Trader Joe's version, but I mean, yeah,
They don't.
That's a good snack.
They're very good. They're
Don't add
they're
sardines.
as good or better than
that
the actual Fritos. And then when we got to the VenHub, I bought the pizza Pringles, and then that became lunch for that Sunday. Was the Fritos we had at home plus the pizza Pringles. Not enough for an adventurous day, especially when you've got a 1-year-old husky mix dog who's very energetic. So we ate Gino's East deep dish later that day and made up for it.
Now that sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds very good. And I know not everybody's into deep dish, but
Who's not into deep dish?
people hate deep dish.
Nobody hates
Some
deep
people.
dish. That's just.
I
that's
will
just-
tell you right now,
those are
like
internet trolls.
most New Yorkers or people who have lived in New York long enough that I know hate deep dish and say,
They're just
that's not real
trolling.
pizza.
They're just, they secretly eat deep dish when the camera's off. You know, they're just
They should. I mean,
Yeah.
they're only hurting themselves by not
Exactly.
eating something
Right.
so
Like,
lovely.
it's not a competition. You can like the deep dish and
Yeah.
the New York style pizza. They're both good.
There
Yep.
was in a different part of LA where I used to live. There was
Howard Yermish is like, I do not secretly eat deep dish. I don't know, Howard.
Those
Howard,
protest too much.
maybe it's time to just kind of come clean. There was this deep dish place that was right down the street from me. Great, it's still there. Wonderful deep dish. I mean, amazing. And I would always try to get people to go there with me because it was a very sort of mom and pop, just so cute, like checkerboard tablecloths, and just wonderful. In fact, now I can't think of the name of it because I don't know. I have no memory.
Maria's.
It wasn't Maria's, but it did Moss's.
Contucci's.
Moss's. M-A-S-A's.
Moss's.
You
Okay.
can look it up. Moss's on Sunset. Great place. But they were known for the deep dish, but they also had thin crust if you wanted that, and a variety of other food. And I would sometimes, like drag a friend there, and they'd be like, "Ugh, "Can we just get thin crust?" I'm like, "Why? Why would you do this to me? It's the whole point is to get deep dish. It's so much better." But everyone's different.
Yeah. CR Poll is pointing out Chicago people say they eat New York style because deep dish is not an everyday thing. And I think that's true. You don't eat. I'm sure there's somebody who
if
eats
deep dish was an
every
everyday
single day,
thing,
but
I would be,
yeah.
I would have diabetes.
I would be twice the person I am now.
yeah.
Also at Ropa Vieja at the Cuban restaurant, Versailles, hilariously named after a French palace. the Cuban restaurant
I
in LA.
No, I don't.
Yeah, there's a few of them around the LA area. They're really good, really good Cuban food.
Really? That's
Yeah.
fun. No, I'm not familiar. All right,
And then
Amos.
yesterday we got the spicy seafood tofu stew in the LA Galbi.
Now that sounds
for Memorial Day.
That sounds
so good.
Sounds delicious. I was just having a conversation with somebody who was like, "Why would anyone want tofu? It tastes like nothing." And I'm like, "No, it tastes like what you soak it in.
What you put around it.
Yes.
Exactly.
It can be any taste. That's the beauty of tofu."
I also ordered spicy, which is the next one down from dangerous. They had low, mild, medium, spicy, and dangerous. I ordered spicy. It was perfect.
Yeah, dangerous is like, if it's really dangerous,
I'm like,
I don't know.
I could handle spicy food. I could probably eat the dangerous, but I wouldn't enjoy it. You know, it's probably just too much.
It's more of just like, it's like a dare.
Yeah,
Rather
right.
than something that's fun. Okay, Amos, can you one up us?
So I don't eat Subway very often, but at my new job, there's a Subway in the same parking lot, so I can go there really quickly, just grab something, and I'll grab the meal of the day, which on Sunday is basically the steak and cheese. There's like 3 different versions of it, but it's essentially steak and cheese, which is my favorite.
Like Philly
sub.
cheesesteak or some different spin on it.
It's they call it the Philly cheesesteak, but it's
Okay,
it's the same
yeah, I
steak
gotcha.
and cheese. There's like 3 versions. The Philly cheesesteak is the one that's on special that day, so I can get a foot long for like $10. Cool. I go through and I get it, and it's all perfect, exactly the way I like it. And I sit down and I go to eat it, and I had them add the wrong dressing. I know I said the right name. I know I watched her pick up the wrong bottle and squirt it onto my sandwich. She put the sriracha on there, and I like the chipotle, and it doesn't sound like there should be much of a difference there. It ruined the sandwich.
Oh,
One's
no.
smoky and the other's not.
Ruined it.
Yeah, yeah, they are different tastes.
It was, and I couldn't like take it back and be like, "Oh, this sandwich is blah blah blah," because I mean, I saw her do it. Like, I'm not.
Right. It's like it didn't
leap
matter
towards
that
it.
much to you, but at the same time, you were like, all right.
Right. It was horrible. So my the one thing I got to eat that day was not good.
So
But
it
did
was
you
the
eat it?
sriracha
You ate
that
the
you
whole
got, not the
I
chipotle.
did. I got the sriracha, and I wanted the
I
chipotle.
don't like sriracha. I know I'm an outlier. There are sriracha
I didn't
lovers.
used to like sriracha. Do you know what turned me around?
What?
Tavala. Tavala kept putting sriracha in its meal, like smart oven meals. And I finally gave in. I was like, okay, fine, I'll put sriracha in. And I'm like, oh, it's actually pretty good in this. And then eventually I'm like, oh, you know what? Sriracha's not so bad. It's just, you got to have it in the right place.
I agree. I think it's just some people like it so much where I'm like, I just would put Crystal hot sauce on this over sriracha any day.
They're different
And then
things.
Tapatio for certain meals, not all of them.
Crystal
like-
or Tabasco can kind of work in anything, whereas Tapatio, Cholula, they have a certain things I use them for. And sriracha, I'm like, oh, it works in these things. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say sriracha is like the most limited of those.
Yeah.
There's a
Cholula, anything
sweetness
with
to
chicken will work
sriracha
with
that
it, you know,
maybe
but
it
yeah.
feels a little ketchup-y to me because I don't really like ketchup very much. And you're like,
And it's kinda thick,
sriracha's
too.
not ketchup, and it's not, but
Yeah.
there is a sweetness to it where I'm like, of
Yeah.
all the, kind of chili sauces, I just, like, I don't have sriracha in my kitchen right now, but if I run out of Crystal, I'm going to Ralph's and buying
You're going to
a
VenHub.
bottle of Crystal because I have to have Crystal in my kitchen.
Can you get a hot sauce at the VenHub? Actually, I haven't.
That's a good idea.
There's a stereotype of certain types of people that have Tabasco sauce in their purse at all times, and we have become that family. But my wife hates hot stuff, so she just keeps it in her purse for me.
Oh, well, that's nice.
I try to keep a packet of hot sauce in my coat pocket, but then in the summer I don't wear
in
coat.
your
MREs
coat
come with those little-
pocket?
Yeah.
MREs come with the little
Well,
tiny
because I guess you're
Tabasco
not,
sauces. I
like
used to
rocking a
keep those around.
handbag all the time.
Like a jean jacket, I just have a
Yeah.
little packet in there.
Just to have a little packet in there. I mean, every time I get pho, which is not that often because I'm trying not to order for delivery too much anymore because expensivo. But there's always packets of hot sauce that I just don't use because I have my own. Or
Oh, yeah, right.
So they start to pile up, in the silverware drawer. And then every so often I'm like, ooh, look at this. We can do a little Chick-fil-A
Bonus.
sauce
Yeah.
situation.
Well, that's what I ended up with the sriracha because it comes in little packets in the tavalas. I was like, these are building up. I'm just going to use it. And it was like Singapore noodles was, I think, the first dish that I was using it in. And it like blended in to the noodles dish.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so overwhelmingly ketchupy sweet because I totally know what you're talking about. Like it worked its way in and it was just providing a little background heat. That was good.
Well, and it depends on, what else is in the noodles. I mean, there's so many reasons you can cut that sweetness or you just like it in general.
Yeah.
So, you do that. Well, you know who we do like? Dan Campos. Dan Campos is back with some news on a multi-regional distribution deal for streaming subscribers in both the US and Mexico.
Hi there, friends of DTNS. Televisa Univision and Disney have signed a multi-regional distribution deal to share content across their platforms. Starting in June, ViX users in Mexico will be able to access content from Disney Plus as part of their subscription. Meanwhile, Hulu Plus Live TV will include content from Univision, Unimas, TUDN, and Galavisión. Additional Spanish-language channels from Televisa's catalog will be added later, including news, movies, music, and telenovelas. Hulu's general manager, Lauren Tempest, mentioned that this new partnership allows us to strategically build upon our current channel, offering an Spanish-language content available in Hulu Plus Live TV, while providing subscribers in Mexico with a meaningful opportunity to access both Disney and Televisa Univision content in a single package. For this and more news, including the upcoming telecommunications legislation, check the latest Noticias de Tecnología Express. Not available on Hulu yet. Back to you, amigos.
Dan?
But one of these days,
One of these days. Remember that that if you have any feedback on anything we talked about in the show, be it tech news, be it food, be it what may be going on in Dan Campos's neck of the woods, do send it our way. feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
All right, let's get to the titles. They're building up over at dtns.showbot.tv. Howard Yermish, Saray TW, and E. Clay Thomason leading the way with 4 votes each for Hot GPT or Not GPT. ChatGPT, does this make me look fat? Mm-hmm. And ChatGPT thinks you're a hot mess.
Well, you give them the right photo, and that's what it'll tell you. I know this well.
Every AI is crazy for a sharp-dressed user from Stealth Dave.
Very ZZ Top of you.
Little ZZ Top there. ChatGPT can now give you a 90s makeover from GPIC.
Oh, boy. Well,
hot takes on hot sauce.
Hot takes on hot sauce. I mean, everybody's got a hot take on hot sauce. Some people don't like hot sauce at all, and I don't know. I don't know how to deal with that.
Well, what should we
hot
call
sauce.
Today's show then?
Well, I know how to deal with that. Stealth Dave also submitted, Smart is in the home of the beholder.
Thank you, Stealth Dave. That's well done.
Yeah, that was very clever, Stealth Dave.
Big thanks to everybody watching us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch. We got Prince of Brow resubscribing for the 52nd month. Says, have a good day, everybody. Howard Yermish back for the 18th month at Tier 1. They've been subscribed totally for 28 months. Says, hey, I'm still subscribed. I'm glad to hear it, Howard. Zoe gave us 4 bits. Wizard of Larry and Penny Park followed us yesterday. All, usernames have to be all one word. That was a tough one for me to puzzle out just now. So I feel proud that we did that. Thanks, everybody, for supporting us in all the various ways you can, including patreon.com/DTNS.
Yay. Speaking of support, are you up to date with Apple Vision Show, the podcast where Eileen Rivera and I talk about Apple's vision and whether or not it matches with what we are looking for? It's getting kind of spicy pre-WWDC. Lots of Apple news these days. We're having a lot of fun, and we would love to have you along. If you're not already subscribed, please do applevisionshow.com. You can also watch us live here on DTNS Live, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's 2000 UTC. Find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live. We're back to it all again tomorrow with Scott Johnson. He's talking about the AI backlash in video games. And boy, does he have thoughts. Talk to you then.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.